Oh God, we're
Welcome.
Crazy. Hello everyone.
And you join us as Andy is eating a panini. I've got to make sure I say that right.
Yeah, he's interrupting my lunch. I said, give me a minute to eat, but he's not doing it. He just click go live.
I'm interrupting. We're interrupting his lunch.
It is a lovely,
even though we've made
panini, mozzarella.
Even though we've made an agreement. We've made an agreement. Midday, UK.
That's true.
9 p.m. AEST. There you go.
Now, guys.
Play some music. By the time the music's done, so will the panini.
Lovely.
My little secret's out.
If I don't eat, I'll be grumpy and I won't give them any value.
He does get very hangry, guys. So thank you for bearing with us.
My daughter's got the same thing as me, the oldest one.
Could you tell the difference of what I just did then?
No.
So I don't know. Look, guys, you can back me up on this. When you're listening to YouTube or listening to podcasts, I can't ever listen to anything at speed 1. I have to speed it up at least 1.25 or at least 1.5 because most people speak too slow for me to hear. I can hear more things. So I speed everything up and then I get through more audiobooks or YouTube stuff. Do you do that or not?
No, I'm slow.
You don't?
No. I listen to something and I think, oh, I don't know if I heard it properly. Let me go back and re-listen to it. I'm more likely to slow it down, mate, than to speed it up.
Mate, that was a classic. That was a classic. Let's get rid of the music. So, Andy, do things move to... I'm really... Yeah, I can take in a lot of information. Andy, how about you?
No.
No. Thumbs up. How long it took you to answer that, guys?
That's it.
Guys, let us know if you are like me and you speed up your podcasts and your YouTubes just to kind of fit more in. Because if it's an hour,
I'm going to miss something.
Really, I can get the whole thing done in like 30-35 minutes.
The second time round, I agree. Yeah, second time round.
It depends how fast or slow the person speaks. That's the caveat. That's the caveat for my rule. So Slavomir in the house is saying his daughter does it always 1.5. Nicholas tuning in live on YouTube. Great to have you with us, my friend. Nick Abraham here on the Gold Coast back for round 2. So if you don't know what he's referring to because you're new to the group, welcome. My name's Gaven, the host. This guy, this side, is the professional trader looking away perfectly. He's very shy. Bless him. But he comes to life.
There he was.
He comes to life when he talks trading. Thank God for that. Yeah, so round 1 was yesterday where we talked all things FX. Round 2 is today where we talk all things crypto. So welcome. You're welcome to come to both live shows that we do for free. As long as you're a member of our private group, then that's awesome. Zach's still trying to be #1 in the comments. You've got a way to go, my friend. Anita in the house tuning in live from Australia as well. Hope all is going well with baby Demi. Congratulations. Well, we released the name. I say we as if I had anything to do with it. It's Antonia. Antonia.
Yeah, it's Antonia.
And what's the Greek way again?
Yeah, sounds better in Greek. Yeah.
Antonia. I knew it. Andy's tuning in as well. Oh, sorry, Andrew tuning in. Slip of the tongue, force of habit. Darren's in the house. Good to have you with us, Darren. And just a bit of housekeeping. Slavomir was first on Facebook and YouTube.
Wow, that's just showing off.
A little bit. Not going to brag. So let's jump into it because as usual now, we try and cram in as much as we can. We get through the frivolities of the show. Andy's finished his panini. So we're good to go. So I've taken some notes of some things just to make sure that I stay on track and we cover enough things. So let's talk about the news first before we jump in to your trading setups from yesterday. And as per usual here, you get a little 7-day forecast of what's likely to happen next. He's been pretty accurate, Mr. Demi, to give him his dues. He's been pretty accurate when he's doing this. So long shall it continue. So the first bit of major news in the crypto world is an unknown entity has just bought over $1 billion worth more Bitcoin in the last 12 hours. Yet it hasn't done anything to the price. If someone's investing $1 billion into Bitcoin, do you think that it should have an effect on the price? Was a question that I've got for you.
Yeah, I mean, surely that big move up, was it before that?
Well, it was within the last 12 hours.
When I've lost
count. And I believe that the big, I'm kind of losing track of time, but that big move, I think it was after the big move up, because now we're kind of sitting around 37 last time I looked, and we went up to that 41, right, and then almost 41, and then it's come back down, right?
Yeah.
Be interesting to know the times. Would be interesting to know the times. So
I know,
billion.
Yeah, no, that would definitely have an impact. But I would imagine it's before the move, if that's the case. I mean, it could be
interesting.
And I know it's. I don't know if you saw like what the news sites tend to do, and they do it for effects as well. They all just kind of make stuff up. It's like something happens, and the job of a news provider. So I saw something on FX Street that Bitcoin's gone up to 40K, and why has it gone up? It's because there's leakage that Amazon are going to be offering Bitcoin, Cardano, and Ethereum, and that's why everything's gone up. So that's happened. There's the story. That's the reason. But I don't really believe that. I mean, that was public information before it got pumped up. I saw that on Twitter. I could have put my feet up, made a meal, and had a coffee before and placed that trade. It doesn't make sense, right? If that's the reason why it's gone up, it would have gone up as soon as that leakage happened. So I don't really kind of believe that. I think it was due to go up. I must be honest. I'm surprised 35K didn't act as resistance, though. I thought it would hold at 35, pull back, and then go. But I've been saying it's probably going to go and hit these 38, 40s. But it's just done it quicker than what I anticipated. I was expecting that little pullback.
Interesting, and obviously we'll get into the nitty gritty of it shortly. I just like talking about these things with you because I think the more we just have a conversation around it, there's none of this clandestine, like it is ridiculous. Like you say, stuff's in the news, right? And then they're trying to make it seem like it's something, Amazon are accepting Bitcoin. And then, Amazon aren't accepting Bitcoin, that's why it's come down. Regardless of what they're doing, like they're advertising, so they're posting for jobs to have people manage their own digital currency. That tells you everything you need to know about. It's not what they say, it's what they do. And kind of as a social class, the more we get used to seeing and observing what they're actually doing rather than what they're saying that they're doing to us, will actually stand us in better stead, in my opinion. So it doesn't matter whether what they're saying, it's what they're actually doing that counts. Another bit of news that I found very interesting in the last couple of days, the IMF, our good friends at the International Monetary Fund, they're warning all countries to stop adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. So Bitcoin is now legal tender in certain countries. Now you've got to ask yourself, what would the IMF stand to lose if more countries start adopting decentralized finance? At the moment, we've got a centralized finance. It's a very good very good source of income, should we say, for those of them that control that game. But now if we go, actually, we don't want that, and we want to start playing decentralized game, then who stands to gain and who stands to lose? Again, just start questioning things. But I don't know why people aren't really able to go off and connect the dots themselves. So we just like to have a couple of innocent conversations here and then just let you guys work out and bubble away in your own thoughts what you want to do with things. But what's your interpretation when the IMF come out and say things like that?
Well, I don't think that they can stop that happening. Firstly, and to be honest, from our point of view, any news is good news. Any news is good news because it creates volatility, and that's what we want. So we know, I know with great certainty that cryptos are going to be around. That's going to be the future. I can say that with great certainty, and I believe Bitcoin will be around as the leader in currency. That's because it's just too big now. It's too big and too many institutions now involved. It's very difficult for that to go away. So if you believe that, you've got to think that any news is good news for us. So if it's bad news, it means we can buy cheaper. And so that's kind of how I look at it. Like, I don't get scared with the news. I think, oh my God, is it going to go away? Is it going to disappear? Are they going to stop it? No, actually, it's great. You've just made it a whole load cheaper for us, and eventually it will get resolved. You know, how many times did they say years ago, crypto's a scam, don't get involved with it, and everybody's changing their stance, and now governments are introducing their own coins, and because they have to adapt to the new world, and there's no way around it. You can't stop it. So the initial impulse is, this is not okay for us. This doesn't serve our purpose. You know, we want to have control of our money. And then the more it goes on, they think, oh, well, maybe I can't stop this now, so I have to get involved with it. And that's what happens over time. All of this has happened over time, and then everything, like, without going into the sort of COVID stuff, but it's all the same.
Don't say that word, mate. We're just starting to get more traffic from Facebook and going out and getting more members. Now they're going to put some sort of block on us just because you mentioned the C word.
That's true. Mate. All right. Well, okay. Fair enough. I won't say anything more about that. But yeah, no, it's I mean, we're just kind of interested in, I guess, what serves us. So I'm not worried about things like that. Even China, with the whole mining thing, them stopping the miners, I mean, it just pushes Bitcoin down, and then eventually it recovers, and that's what it's done now. So we just need to. What's amazing is that often, you know, something happens like after the event, so like, and then everyone say, oh, well, that's why it's done this, and so that's why it's gone down. But most of the time, we just find this information on the charts. Like, we take the trade. Like yesterday, I've got to tell you, like yesterday, I mean, I had zero time. I've got the kids, I've got guests, and I had an alert pop up on my phone. And I was watching Bitcoin for the day, and I was like, okay, I want to short this, but I can't short this here because I think I've seen this a million times. It's just going to have a pop, take out some highs, and then it's going to go down. That's what I think is going to happen. But I can't even put a limit order in because Bitcoin is dangerous. Like, you know, it can just, someone else can say something, and then it's like, oh, it's at 44K and you shorted it at 40, right? So I put an alert in, I got the alert pop up, and I've been waiting for this all day, and it happened to be the worst possible time. But I was like, I'm running upstairs to my office. So I came to my office. I literally opened my charts up. I was like, bang, brilliant, it's there. That's exactly where I need it to be. So I shorted Bitcoin, I shorted Ethereum. If I was able to be on my charts, I would have probably made 3 or 4 times the money that I did. But because I couldn't be on them, I basically gave it a little bit of a bigger stop, just to kind of give me a bit of space because I couldn't watch it. So you have to adapt. But
interesting. We'll break into that. Yeah,
we'll get into that. Yeah. And we'll go into that later.
See, guys, on the brain, this guy has got trading on the brain. He just wants to. He's like a horse waiting for the race to start. He's just bolting out the gates. Steady on, son. Steady on. Let's just have a little chat. And I know everybody else wants to go there as well, but we will get there in our own sweet time. But so you went downstairs and you were like, "Hey guys, I've just made a bunch of money. Now I can talk to you." Was it that kind of environment in your house?
4 or 5 minutes. But I was like, well, also because I mean, basically I was patient. Like I looked at I was looking at the markets, and I knew it wasn't the right time to take the trade earlier in the day. So had I taken it earlier in the day, I would have either made a loss or broke even. So I had to wait. And once I got that alert, I was like, this is not the right time, but it's only going to take me a few minutes because the work had been done. That's the most important thing. It's like my analysis has been done, but I can't just get in on my phone. I need to look at the charts and say, right, is it really there? And if you look at the markets, they didn't look bearish, but I still went short because I just believe in the analysis and you have to take the trade.
Mate, I'm struggling to take what you're saying seriously right now. I don't know if this is going to show my age, but do you remember the movie Twins?
Yeah.
With Danny DeVito. So we look like twins right now. You look like really short, and I know you're not. So do you want to just move your camera down a little bit?
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, now we look like we're the same size. I couldn't take what you were saying seriously, and that's probably just me and my zany sense of humor. If anybody else saw that and got that reference, just let me know that I'm not the only weirdo in the group. I don't need that. I'm okay as I am. I've releasing insecurity. So yeah, it just made me laugh and I couldn't take what you were saying seriously. Okay, so that was cool. And then another thing that's in the news is the next round of futures and options are expiring this Friday, apparently, especially on cryptos. When you hear those sorts of news, or that's something that's upcoming, as a professional trader, what do you tend to think? Is there anything that you're thinking, I'm going to look out for this, or I'm going to look out for that? Or again, is it just, well, these are my spots, these are my zones. If it goes here, then I'm expecting this. If it goes there, then I'm expecting that. Is that how you would approach those sorts of fundamentals? I guess they would come under, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, I don't really look at that, but an option expiring can have an impact. So Alberto's the man with options, but the one thing that I know is that if you have a lot expiring, so you can look at the strike price of options. So those that do trade options, if you have a lot of people positioned and you've got a certain expiry and a certain strike price, it might just draw Bitcoin or whatever crypto it is to that price just before expiry. So that's sometimes what can happen. I don't really use that, but I know that that's what people that do use it, that's what they tend to see. So it's like if we know, for example, there's an expiry happening at 35K, strike price 35K on Friday, you might just kind of keep an eye on that 35K, especially leading up to Friday. So yes, it can definitely have an impact, but and also don't forget the people that are trading this stuff is generally institutions. You're not going to get retail traders, trading options and futures as much. So mostly it's either professionals or institutions that are trading them. So so it's important from that point of view. But again, it's something you probably need to spend some time on to see if there's an edge to it and work out how you incorporate. So anything you incorporate in your plan has to be kind of like as part of a process. So me looking at that now doesn't really make a lot of sense because it's not something that I add to my tools, but it's something you can research for sure, especially the guys that trade options. I know some of the people watching, especially the ones from Australia, they do trade options a lot more. So, you can use that. You can definitely have a look at that and use some of the things that you know.
Cool. And then another thing that I found quite interesting was going back to Amazon, and obviously will they, won't they, with the currency. We know cryptocurrency or digital currency, whether they end up adopting their own version. Apparently, you can buy the Whole Foods pantry. You can already use cryptocurrency to buy on that. And obviously we know that they bought those guys out a few years ago for a very high price, but obviously they've made a lot of money on that. And when I heard that, I for one questioned the price. I was like, wow, why are they paying so much? But it's worked out great for them. But this stat I found very interesting, and I just wanted to share it with everyone on the show. So in the .com bubble, when it burst, Amazon's share price went down by 95%. But the ones that survived, so 99% of all the .com, in the .com boom, all the companies got wiped out, 99%, and Amazon went down by 95% in its share price. And the moral of that story is, yes, there was still companies that have come back from that. So Amazon, Google, Microsoft would probably be the biggest three that you would say. But the point of this is, when you're starting to look at cryptos and you're looking at projects, pick things with value, whether it's the total value of something. Is it already in operation? Do you think that it's going to be in operation before any sort of crash or retracement would come? Because if it's already being used, then those ones have a better probability of standing the test of time and not being part of the 99%, which probably will get wiped out. What do you think about that, those sorts of things when you hear that, mate?
Yeah, no, completely agree. That's why I think diversification is important. So, rather than putting all your eggs in one basket, it definitely is worthwhile spreading your risk, because the chances are, if you're investing in a lot of projects that have got some value, and like you said, some of them will have real use cases today. Most of them are going towards that space because it's not created fully yet. But as long as you see enough merit in what they're actually doing and they're backed by the right team, all those kind of things, I would say you're better off buying a little bit of each of these good projects than investing everything into Bitcoin, for example. Not to say that Bitcoin, I guess Bitcoin is probably the highest probability that it's going to be around, but it's already well priced, let's say. It's already got demand, and nothing's impossible in crypto. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's guaranteed it's going to be around forever. So I prefer to spread risk across different projects. If one or two, or even more than one or two of them do disappear, imagine if you kind of could go back and said, okay, I'll invest in 50 projects and 47 of them failed, but Amazon, Microsoft, and Google succeeded. Even if you only had small amounts of money, you'd still be way, way better off than had you, try to predict which one would be the best and then not picking one of those three. Because
that's a good point.
Yeah, so it really revolutionized the way we look at the way we do things now, like those three companies. So that's what a lot of these crypto projects are going to do. So the thing to do is just, I would say, invest and store and forget about them. Like, just do modest amounts in each project that you like. And then just, if you have more money, you can put more money in, but that's kind of how I do it. Like, and I just put them away, store them, and don't touch them. Just leave them alone and have like a 5-year plan. And that's kind of you'll be amazed. And it's better if you don't look at them, in my opinion. Like, that's why it's better if you store them. Because when they're on the exchange, there's a couple of things. Like, one, you have the risk of the exchange getting hacked. And then two, you're looking at your value every day. Most people are. Because if you're trading on that platform, you're looking at your spot value. So as it goes up, you're excited. As it goes down, you're annoyed. But actually, this is a long-term portfolio. So really, we don't, I don't know if people, when you work in the corporate world, they give you, like most big companies, they give you they give you shares of their company. So like if you work for JP Morgan, you normally get some shares of JP Morgan given to you as part of your pension, right? That you can't touch. And so I know a few people in that position now who would no way have held for as long as they've held, but because they've been there for say 15 years, they had no choice. Like that you have to hold. And so they put in a certain amount and the company puts in a certain amount, and then they have this portfolio of shares. And I know, for example, firsthand, like friends of mine and even my sister who have got a massive chunk of money now from that because they couldn't touch them. Whereas maybe if you could, you probably would have just sold when it, doubled or something. So that's why I like the idea of just storing, obviously, and then putting away all your passcodes, put it into a safe, and then just leaving it alone and just not touching it. And then maybe in a year or two, go and have a look and see what it's worth, especially after we get the next big run. You'll be probably very pleasantly surprised. Exactly
that. Your story reminds me of a similar story of an ex-girlfriend of mine. So she was my girlfriend from uni, and she left uni. I'm trying to remember what she did. I think she did CAD or something like that. She ended up getting a job at Facebook, which was about maybe 16, 17 years ago now. So obviously way before they rose in value. And she just kept getting shares given. And then it was like, oh my God, have you heard about ex-girlfriend? Because she's now totally schminted because she's kept hold of all of her shares that she's been given by Facebook when they did their public share sale. And she made a pretty penny off that. So good on her for that. Wasn't at all jealous. So another thing that, and this actually, you've answered a question. So a student reached out to me and Anita, and she said, can you ask Andy this question? If I had 100 grand, would I just be better off buying all Bitcoin and holding it at the moment until I get the hang of the trading platform? Because she's still quite new to cryptos and trading. So she obviously wants to put some money to work. We're obviously talking hypothetically about 100 grand. What would you recommend in that situation, mate?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, this is a personal preference. I would say if you invested 100K in Bitcoin, you're going to do pretty well over the next few years. And from one point of view, it seems like a safer crypto investment. But personally, I wouldn't do it that way. I would invest less. And so you could have your really stable coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. I'd probably say those three. I would have maybe say 10K in each of those projects, and then 70K split maybe 2.5K in other projects. So lots of other projects of 2.5K investments. That's how I would do it. So 10K in Cardano, 10K in Bitcoin, 10K in Ethereum. They're stable, likely to go up, likely to be around, pretty safe for crypto, considering it's a new asset. And then I would pick cryptos in the DeFi space, especially, and then maybe some NFTs, and then some other projects that are already around and doing well, that can also rival Bitcoin. There's a lot of interesting projects that have a purpose. Like, for example, one of them, and there's others like this, is Monero. Monero is a privacy coin, so that's important. So whether they're going to be the leader or not, they've got a real purpose in. A lot of people want privacy. There's going to be demand for that. They don't want to be controlled. They don't want outside sources to see what you're doing. So there's a lot of different projects that will have demand. And that's what you're trying to figure out. So invest in projects that you understand. If you don't understand them, and you don't understand the reason, then you're better off doing more like the thing that you said, which is, but I would still split it across, say, those three, if you really don't want to go into, but I'll tell you one project that I think is a no-brainer. It's Compound. It's going to be for me, it's the number one lending platform. I think they're going to be massive. So I guess I don't want to give people financial advice where they're going to go and put all their money into it now, but I really believe that's a DeFi project, but there's others. others in that category as well. But I would invest it in things that you understand and you can see a purpose for them. So rather than just in Bitcoin, I actually think Ethereum is probably a better investment.
Well, especially with the murmurings of 2.0 being released next month, right?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, there's huge potential. Like there's so many projects built on Ethereum. It's difficult to change that. I mean, Cardano are doing a great job. They've built something that you can convert projects. So they're definitely competing. You've got Polkadot as well that are competing, but they can all do well together. But Ethereum is
Ethereum's still the inception point, isn't it? With Cardano, and that's the bit that I'm like, I get it. I get Cardano and the buzz around it and the hype, but they still got to go through Ethereum technically, right?
Well,
they're still getting that blockchain.
Technically, yeah. I mean,
for me, it's like, okay, well, Ethereum was still, and it's going to be interesting, put it that way, to see which one of those two, if they both stay the test of time, which a lot of people are saying, or whether it's just one or the other, or if it is both. So it'd be quite interesting.
Yeah.
So we've got some comments coming in. So Snake Trader is tuning in live on YouTube. He's saying 2.0 is for later on the year, December. And again, we don't know for sure, but what I'm hearing is that there's going to be some sort of announcement with Ethereum. Obviously, it's my belief that there's been a steady demolition for whatever reason of cryptos, and that's why it's doing what it's doing, whatever you want to say with regards to news and things like that. But it will be after mid-August and into September, it will be an interesting time for cryptos, I believe. It's going to be exciting to see what moves we kind of get. But thank you very much for your point. Nick is saying that the banks have banned privacy coins on Binance, which is interesting. And just to the 100K point, Nicholas is saying spread the 100K, be better off than just BTC, which is pretty much what you're saying as well, mate. So before we jump into the charts, there's one other thing, and the reason why I'm sharing this stuff is just every week. We wouldn't know this because it's not in the news. So I'm just picking out bits that I find interesting, because it's these little things which will turn into something, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's how it's always been like that. It's just gently being swept under the carpet for now, and then it will come out as if it's always been like that. So Shopify is a huge platform. Many entrepreneurs, we've probably got a lot watching it. They use Shopify as a platform to sell their online goods and services. Shopify are now saying that they're allowing vendors to sell NFTs. So I think this is interesting, because obviously you're saying about DeFi space, but I think NFTs will be I think it's going to be in the top 5 for sectors within cryptos. And they're allowing.
I mentioned NFT.
Company. Oh, okay.
You can rewatch the show. I did say DeFi and NFTs.
Okay, cool. So yeah, they're allowing vendors to sell NFTs, and they're also accepting crypto payments on Shopify, which is huge, because it's just something that's just going to be coming in. There's obviously a demand for it. They wouldn't put that time and effort in to upgrade all of that. And now people are just going to be able to have more outlets and more ways to spend. I mean, I think they're the biggest online provider for entrepreneurs for online platforms, basically. So that's huge. And also one of the first ones to utilize NFTs on Shopify, apparently, is the NBA basketball team, so the Chicago Bulls. So again, if that's not mainstream, then what is? So again, look at all of these things that are doing, not what people are saying. And it just, all of this stuff that's coming every week now, it's going to be change after change after change. It's quite exciting when you actually sit down and look at things like this.
It is, and the thing is you know, when the markets are not doing anything and they're kind of going down or going sideways, it's very easy to lose sight of what's really going on, like how big this is, and how fortunate we are to be, one, with the knowledge, but two, in the right timing. Like, I was way too young at that time with the .com to really fully take advantage. I knew about it, but it was just kind of like a bit too soon for me. But this is like our opportunity right now. And look, it's just, of course, it's a personal opinion, but for me, it's like if you have savings and you just keep them in the bank and you don't invest in some, at least a little portion of some of your savings into this. Oh.
Wi-Fi strikes again. Although that's not Wi-Fi. That sounded like battery, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see how long it takes for him to join us back. So let me just go through some of the comments. Yeah, Slavomir is saying it looks like the power cut off. We'll have to give him some more stick when he comes back on. That'll be quite funny. So yes, admittedly, I did go through a little stage of having dodgy Wi-Fi. So I was nicknamed Wi-Fi. So we have to give him some sort of nickname. If someone can start putting a suggestion for a nickname into the comment section, that would be great. And then we can give him a little bit of banter. That would be cool. Haley, thanks a lot for tuning in. What does that say? We stand with our 3 lions. Okay, cool. Triple D, exactly. I can't even remember what that was. What was that we, what was it? Demi, I can't remember what we said now. That's quite interesting. If you can remember that, Nicholas, what was the triple D? And then we're going to have to add another one in. That would be great. So Anita, no worries for asking your question. If anybody else has got any other questions. So remember, guys, whilst whilst our full-time professional trader who can't afford to pay his electricity bill, as soon as he comes back live, oh, talk of the Diablo.
I knew you'd love it, mate. I knew it. I keep forgetting to bloody plug this in. Sorry about the swearing. Yes.
No worries, mate.
No, as I was saying, like I think I think you really regret not at least investing a small portion of your funds into this, even if you've got. I mean, if you're here, I'm guessing you believe in this stuff, but it's very easy to lose sight of what's really going on when you're seeing your portfolio go down. That's what I'm trying to say. So you just got to stay. I hope you didn't get overexcited when Bitcoin went up, because it's just a move up. That's all. But if you're investing, it's just that you got to just be looking at this as a long-term plan for your investment. For your trading, it's perfect. It's a perfect environment right now for trading. It really is. You just got to wait. Be patient.
Cool. Well, look, I think we've covered off and off there. And I do want to have enough time to go in and do our little Bitcoin and Ethereum battle and see what's going to be happening this week. And obviously you posted in the group, for those that didn't see it. So your trades were you shorted Bitcoin at 40,235 and took profit at 37,231. And then you shorted Ethereum at 2421 and you came out at 2238. So if we can jump into to those, and then now's the time when you were talking about before, if what you would have done had you have had more time, if you didn't have babies and guests and in-laws and bar mitzvahs and whatever else was going on in your house. I don't know.
I'm not Jewish, mate.
That's true. It's the first thing that came to my mind after babies. Weird, I know, but.
Well, so I did want to show people the chart that I actually had up. Unfortunately, it's...
Wait, your battery ran out. You can't show us.
I can't show you because... Hold on, let me see if it... Why is it not showing? I don't know why they're not... why it's not replicating on my... So I've got everything on my PC. This is where I trade. Let me see what... Hold on, one sec, guys. It should actually replicate, but for some reason it hasn't. Just want to make sure I've got the right. Yeah, it's strange. Well, anyway, look, I'll do a rough. Let me see if I can replicate what I've got here. 1 second.
So guys, just while we're waiting for Andy to do that, I'll give a little plug for our masterclass that we're doing tomorrow. So every month now, it seems like more people are saying, "Are you still doing the cryptos? You still doing the cryptos?" Yes, we are. So we're doing another masterclass webinar, 8 p.m. UK time. So Andy will be breaking down his toolbox, everything that he uses. He's showing everything. He'll be giving some background story on his past and his history of working as a hedge fund trader and at the banks, and how it's not all been kind of easy sailing and just a straight ride up. But more importantly, you'll get a ton of value from attending. So we will be sending out the links for the registration. So it will be on Zoom, I believe. So in order to attend, you need to sign up for the link on Zoom. So check your emails for that, please. Right, with that being said, have you sorted out your screen yet, mate?
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Cool. So today we're going to be breaking down, so this Crypto Like a Pro trading masterclass with Andy Demi. We're going to be going through the trades that he took, where he shorted Bitcoin at 40, just over 40,000, and came out, took profit at 37, and then where you shorted Ethereum at 24.21 and came out at 22.38. So we're going to be comparing the two and trying to pick the next few days of movement that's likely for these two premier crypto coins. Mr. Demi, are you ready?
Yes, I am. So yeah, like I was saying, the unfortunate thing is all my analysis breakdown is on my other PC behind me, but I will. I'll explain basically the main premise of what I did and how I was able to pretty much pinpoint the high point. So both Ethereum and Bitcoin, basically, I got an alert. So I had my alerts here, and then when I came up to have a look, basically what I was looking for was this is called a market angle line, and I was looking for it to basically hit and reject. Now, specifically, we had a really big move up, and I was looking at Bitcoin during the day, and if I just go to the hourly chart, it'll be actually easier to show you what I was looking at. So let me just clean this up a bit, guys. Sorry. So I was looking at Bitcoin here. So we have this big move up, and I'm thinking, well, that's a exaggerated move, and it's kind of just like spiked up to here and then kind of come off, and then it's just consolidating. And I want to go short, but it doesn't really, at this point, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to go short, because it's building up energy here. It's not pulling back. It's not looking like it's going to pull back. It's just building energy up. So what I figured out was, well, what will likely happen is probably the market will, so I've seen this many times before. So we have this big push up, consolidation, and then it will probably take out the highs and then reverse. That's kind of what I thought would probably happen. So with that in mind, I then went and looked at my charts, and I found that I had two market angles, one going down, one going up, that perfectly aligned with a high point. So I thought, well, do you know what? 40K is important. Everyone's going to be looking at 40K. So I reckon what's going to happen is we're going to spike through 40K, and then we're going to fall. I mean, this is just a theory, but obviously the key to this, I'm not going to kind of say, I knew it was going to collapse as soon as I got in, but that's exactly what happened. I got in and it pretty much just collapsed. And I sold around here. That's what I posted in the group. You can see my entry price was about here. So it's literally the top. And I actually was trying to get in a little bit before, but I couldn't do the calculations quick enough. But I got in at a decent price, and then the market went down. So it was something like this. If you look at my 4-hour chart, I just copied this over from my other chart, but this was one of my market angles. So it literally pinged it there perfectly. And I thought, well, this is a good value spot. And I went short. And even though it doesn't look like a massive move, this happened really, really quickly. So I got in and it went bang down within 1 or 2 hours, and I was able to kind of come out. And I initially did put a target of 36,250, something like that. But again, it's one of those where I thought, not sure if overall, there's been a big bullish move. It was natural that we're going to pull back. These are making higher highs and higher lows. I don't think I want to hold this overnight. And I thought to myself, oh, well, I'm probably going to wake up and it probably would have hit my 36,250. But I checked this morning because it's just something you do. And it didn't quite get there, actually. So it got to 36.4. So I was quite happy with my decision to come out. Obviously, I came out around that sort of 37K-ish, to 37.2, something like that, from what I remember. And yes, I mean, it went slightly lower, but it wouldn't have actually filled my my target. So the plan was this morning I was trying to buy it if it pulled back. So I have another plan of I was trying to buy it if it came back to this kind of next angle, which I haven't drawn in yet. Here, I've got it over there. It didn't quite get there. And now I've got another plan to sell it if it gets to my next high point and angle line. So
do share, my friend. Share.
I will share.
Before you do, that price 36,400 looked like a missing target being closed off.
Yes, it did.
On the 4-hour. It's interesting that they're following like FX, right? So are you noticing that the missing targets are being hit quite frequently and quite consistently as well? It seems like it's price action is price action, right?
Yeah, exactly. Price action is price action. You can see it there. And it's now bouncing. So if we go to the daily chart right now and have a look, I think let's start from fresh. Hold on, not from fresh, but as in let's break it down from where we are right now. I think that overall, I mean, despite the natural pullback, this is bullish here, and it looks like there's enough momentum to potentially, again, at least go test these highs. Go and test this this down channel line that I've got there, which is coming from up here. So again, it's definitely worth putting an alert on this line here so that we can see. But I don't know if it's just going to kind of consolidate and take a breather right now, because I think there is resistance. There's a little bit of like, okay, look, if you kind of look back over here, there is these high points there. I mean, look, that's exactly where it spiked into it. So it's not going to be easy for it to just break through these levels now. If it does, then we'll be looking at probably, let me have a look. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think there's going to be some natural resistance around these sort of 42.5 area. We'd have to have a look on the lower time frames, but put it this way, it's in a point where now it's a little bit of a battle going on. So I will look for high points to sell and low points to buy, just like kind of like more like little range trades. That's what I'm looking for. So if I just kind of have a little look over here, if you look at the 4-hour chart, we can take the high to low point, have a look to see where the 618 is coming in. So that's around there. Around that 39,000 looks interesting. I'm just going to go to the hourly chart and let's have a look at the last. Okay, so that one didn't work so well, stochastic. So if I just check something here. Okay. Just having a look to see. Yeah, that was a nice channel. Okay, so I'm gonna use that. Second. So because I'm predicting, this is important, context is important, because I'm predicting that there's going to be a little bit of uncertainty right now. You know, is Bitcoin going up? Is Bitcoin going down? It doesn't seem as clear, right? So you're probably going to get some good resistance points to take some scalp trades. So ideally, I'd like it to kind of maybe go up and test these areas. So maybe like it'd be nice if it can kind of do that and then just find some resistance again in this sort of 40,000 area. And then we can look to see if we can sell it up here. And again, you could just go for a short target. So maybe just back down to there. Let me go and see if there's anything else about this that I want to include. So I think right now, the best, I would be looking at ranges and trying to find little, so depending on what time frames you want to trade, I would just be, because there's uncertainty right now. Let's see if we can find anything, even just here. That's quite interesting. So you could potentially, right, that's a bit of a resistance point right there. So right on a super trend. So you might get a little bit of, you can see a bit of horizontal. So a little move down here. This is more like for very short-term scalps. And I would use order flow with this. So somewhere around 38,200, you might get a little pullback. And then if it breaks through that, I'd be looking kind of like at these sort of areas up here. So that, again, for short-term movements, I think there's definitely some room here. Let me see what the fibs are looking like here. This is very, very short term, guys.
So in case you're new, Andy's looking at the 15-minute chart right now.
Look at that, 200, the 200 extension there, 38,200. I'd say we'll probably get a little pullback here, just a small pullback to at 38,200 looks probable. So if you hit that level there, don't be surprised to see it kind of just hold. But that would be very, very short term. You could go for something like, if you want to trade off this kind of time frame, you could go for something like that as your target. So this is very short term. But if you want to be involved, that's the sort, and you could even do like a 1-to-1 there. So just put your stop there. And if it breaks through that, then you'll be looking for it to kind of go and hit that next channel up there. So very, very short term, that's what I'm looking at. But yeah, I think right now there's some bullish price action, but I think there's a lot to break through, and it wouldn't surprise me if we just consolidate here and just kind of stay in a bit of a range, and then we'll see which way it wants to go. I think we will. I've got a feeling that we will go and a little bit higher and go and test these highs up there. So that's kind of Bitcoin. Any questions on that?
Nothing from me. I'll check the comment section otherwise,
okay,
whilst we've still got some time.
And I'll bring in Ethereum.
Nick saying, how much leverage did you have on the shorts?
I didn't have well, it was actually a 5x leverage, but that's just my default. But it was a tiny position. I mean, it was a tiny position because I think actually I didn't answer that question actually, Gavin, that you mentioned. How could I have made more money? Basically, when I got in, I thought it would drop pretty much where I got in, but because I couldn't watch the price action, so what I'd normally do, so it's like this. Let me show people so they can understand it. So if I'm in front of so I've waited, right? I've been patient. So the market's done this. I've waited, and it's doing exactly what I thought. Just taking out that 40K. So I think, okay, great. I mean, I think now people are going to get sucked into the longs, and it's going to be a squeeze, and the market's going to go down. So I'm ready. I want to short this, but obviously the market's going up. And if you looked at the time when I got in, you'd think, what the hell? Why is this guy getting in short? It doesn't make sense, right? You're looking at bullish candles, and it looks like it's going to go to 100,000. But I have to trust in the work that I've done. So I've just gone short. And I can't watch it. So what could have happened is it could have just gone crazy, like something else gets announced. So I couldn't put a tight stop in. So what I'd normally want to do if I'm in front of my screen, I'd short and I'd watch the price action. So in other words, because I couldn't watch the price action, I shorted, but then I gave myself a bit of room. I put my stop up here, for example. Whereas normally I'd say, okay, I'll put my stop up here, but I'm going to go in with maybe 3 times my normal position, because if I'm watching it, I'll read the price and I'll be like, no, this looks strong on the upside. I'm closing it. I'll close the trade and I'll take a small loss. Whereas if I'm watching it and then it just goes within like a minute or two, it goes bang, which is what it did. I've now got like 3 times my position. I immediately moved tighter my stop up, and now I've made 3-4 times more than what I'd make by putting a bigger stop. That's the difference. I didn't have price action. So when I'm trading in front of the screens, I can read price. So it's like you can see if it's heavy to the upside or if you're starting to see a shift. And I would have immediately seen that and then tighten the stop up. So then I've got my normal risk, in fact, less than my normal risk, but with a much bigger size position. And then you catch that move. So I made just over a 1K, which is not bad for the size of, which is amazing actually for the size of position that I had. But that would have been 3-4K if I was in front of my screens. And it's not just me saying it, that's what it would have been. But sometimes we can't be there. And it's just, you just got to adapt. You know, we've got lives, we've got things going on. Awesome. But hopefully that gives a bit of clarity.
It does. It does with Bitcoin. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and I don't want to rush the Ethereum. So let's make a deal. What we'll do, let's do that breakdown on the masterclass tomorrow night.
Good idea. We'll do that.
We'll do it then. Yeah. So we're still gonna keep to our word and our agreement. We'll give you that information. So register for the link, or register for the Zoom link. It'll be in your email inbox. And then even if you're a current student and you just want to see that breakdown, we'll give you the breakdown. And then, you don't have to stay, but sometimes students do. just to pick up more nuggets and knowledge bombs from the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Andy Demi. So that has been the breakdown on Bitcoin. That has been this week's Crypto Like a Pro live show. Hopefully you've got loads of little nuggets of value and wisdom, had a couple of laughs along the way. We thank you very much for joining us live. And yeah, thank you very much, guys. We are going to bounce. Is there anything that you want to say, maybe for about 20 seconds, that will give me enough time to get the song sorted out?
No, I don't have anything to say.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate that.
No, that's all right.
Just left me hanging there.
Yeah, guys, hopefully you found it useful. And yeah, just keep an eye on the group. We'll be posting more breakdowns, and join us tomorrow, and I'll go through Ethereum. Sorry, we'll run out of time, but I promise you we'll go through it tomorrow.
Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. Well, look, thank you very much for that. You have filled in that dead air time like a pro, Mr. Demi. For that, I bid you good day, sir, and everybody else. Have a great
Bye-bye,
one wherever
everybody.
you are, and we'll see you tomorrow.